The final word we have in the building. No other than the Queen of Soul.
Queen of Soul. You know it.
The Queen of Soul. Yes.
The final word.
Miss Hailey Sutton. How you doing, Hailey?
Doing good. I'm doing good. Thanks for having me. This intro was nice.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk a little ball with you, man. Cause you've been spitting. Ooh,
Spitting.
you've been spitting. I can't wait to talk to you. It's a couple of things you said. Man,
The final
you
word.
just warmed my heart.
I love that. I wish I could see you guys.
No, you gonna see it. You gonna see
Oh,
it.
you gonna see
Yoga fire.
This is just the
Yo
intro.
got flame.
This is just
You're
the
gonna have to
intro.
hit. Hey, come on now. Come on, dog. You're gonna have to hit it with. It's another one.
Another one? Okay, because it is another one. You right.
Another one.
Let's go. Ooh, no, I'm excited to talk to Hailey, man. I am. It's one show you did about a month ago. And a couple of things that you said lately that we gonna get right into. I swear, I'm excited to talk to you because you have been in your
The
back.
final word.
The final word.
Man,
Thank you.
you
Yeah.
welcome.
Talking, man.
The
Yeah,
final
now you
word.
grinding. And see,
The final word.
it must be two
The
of
final
you.
word.
The final word.
The final
Two of me?
word. Yeah, it's two of you.
Me.
Because you doing documentaries, hosting the girls talk, boys talk, all in training camp, flying the games, talking to millions on
Al
Saturday.
Michaels. You feel me? Doing the thing.
All right, man. We gonna go ahead and we gonna kick the show off because we only got 20 minutes. So I'm gonna set up one more thing and we gonna get this thing going so we can. She needs some sleep, Big.
I got you. Well, hey, she been working 24/7. You got to get some beauty sleep, don't you?
Yeah.
At some point, yeah, I just got to get this
At
some
documentary
point.
out of the way.
Right. Oh, see what I'm saying? She got documentaries. Good Lord.
Emmy Award winner. All right, so all right, we go even skip the whole intro today, Big. We not gonna even do the intro. We gonna get right into the content with her.
The
bro.
final word.
I think
Let's
that's the
get it.
smartest thing to do. We gonna just jump
Let's
in.
get it.
All right.
The
All right,
final
so y'all got
word.
everything set up on my end. Y'all give me one more second. Once I hit one more button, then we go get Miss Sutton going. All right. Yeah. Here we go. All right, Miss Sutton, just to let you know what's going on is we need about
final
3
word.
minutes to kind of
The
set up
final
everything.
word.
So that's the small delay we have. That's it.
No worries.
The
Just a
final
common delay.
word.
Common thing.
The final
worries.
word.
Cool.
The final word.
I see y'all coming in the building. My brother said, get the lights up.
Yeah, definitely get them lights up, man.
All right, so
We have the trilogy on here. The trilogy.
We gonna jump right in. Let's go. We gonna stop playing. Let's get it. Let it get it. All right, so we got, man, she locked out. Wow. Just so cool. So, Big, you want to kick it off?
Well, first of all, thank you for joining us in your busy time, Miss Sutton. We've been seeing you kill it on the Cowboys, and we know you're heavily busy. Thank you for jumping on here right quick. So I'm going to just jump right into the questions because I know you've been right there firsthand seeing the players, the offense. But instead of the players, I'm going to start with the offense. Obviously, we got Schottenheimer in there. We have McCarthy in there. They're both doing the plays. We saw Schottenheimer on the field, on the bench, talking to the Greer and things of that nature. How do you feel from your perspective the offense looked in that first preseason game as far as the tempo? There was quick tempo, was no huddle. There was a lot of screen passes. What kind of difference did you see, and did it make you feel good, even though it was the backups, about going forward with Dak Prescott and the starters?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that everybody has to remember is that it's preseason football, right? So you got to take what you see with a grain of salt. But I like this West Coast offense. I think it bodes well for the team that the Cowboys have right now, especially when you're looking at the merger of veterans versus young players. Mike McCarthy's been very adamant in saying that this is a team that's going to have to grow up very quickly. And you see that in the tight end room. The wide receiver situation at that 3 and 4 spot is still kind of up for grabs. But I liked the pace of it. I think everything is very simple. It allows the offense to stretch the field a little bit. It forces the defense to really kind of pay closer attention to what the wide receivers are doing. And I think when you can get the tight ends more involved in the blocking scheme, it will open up the run game a little bit more, which we didn't get to see really on Saturday. But a lot of positive things from that game. I think Mike McCarthy is the first to tell you he's his toughest critic. And there were some things that he didn't do as well as he would have wanted to in that first game. But again, it's preseason. So the good news is we get another chance to do it all over again, but better on Saturday.
So my question for you is, first of all, how does it feel to have this moment? Just what she said on her Twitter and pinned it, which makes so much. Anyways, today was unreal. I had my parents in the stands watching me sideline my first NFL game. So before I get into football, I want to talk about dreams coming true. Like I want you to really discuss that, because that's a big deal. Thousands and millions watching, and you just handled it like it was easy. So tell us about that.
Yeah, I mean, I've said it from the very beginning since taking this job. This has been a dream for me. I think most people, who are new to my following don't know that I started my career in Great Falls, Montana. And I made $10.54 an hour for the first 2 years of my career, but it was the start of chasing my dream. And I knew that there was a cost to getting where I needed to be. And I knew that in that moment, moving to Miami was the best thing moving to Montana was the best thing that I ever did for myself. And then you see kind of as my career has gone on, I went from Montana to Alabama, where I got to cover a couple of national championships, some great basketball runs as well there in the SEC. And then went to Miami for a little over 7 months before finally coming back home to Dallas. So it's just a testament to being able to be willing to take that leap and live in crazy places. But the biggest emphasis of that tweet that you just said, the biggest thing, it wasn't even sidelining the game necessarily. It was the fact that my parents were able to be there and be in that moment with me. And full disclosure, I was very nervous before the game started. My mom could tell. She's watching me from the stand, and she texted me. She's like, "What are you worried about? Like, you do this. This is what you do. This is what you're good at." So just, yes, it was cool to be in that moment and to get to have this opportunity with the Cowboys. But man, it was that much more amplified knowing that I had my mom and dad in the stands. I had my grandma at home on the DVR texting me every time I would come on. Just all the support I got from people. And so that to me is what made that really, really special.
Nah, that was dope. So we only got a little while with you, so I'm gonna get into the high points. Let's go.
For time's sake, is there any other position groups you wanted to make mention of? Any other guys you want to talk about before we wrap things up for the show?
Yeah, everybody say it with me. Damone Clark.
Damone Clark.
Honest to God, y'all.
Now this is before the game. This is before the game. Watch.
I'm saying this today is.
My bad, I missed it. I missed it bad.
Today is Thursday.
Sorry.
Listen, today is Thursday, August 10th. It's 2 days before the preseason, and I am here to tell y'all that Damone Clark will be an absolute monster for this team, not just this year, not just next year, but for years to come. And I know that we put a lot of emphasis on Micah Parsons and what he is able to bring to the table, and I'm not taking anything away from Micah Parsons. He will be one of the best players to ever wear a Cowboys jersey. But I'm here to tell you, August 10th at 8:46 a.m. that Damone Clark will also be one of the best players to ever put on the Cowboys jersey, because his
You listen, and he showed up. Can you expound on that? Because you killed it.
Yeah, I've been very high on Damone since getting to know him a little bit last year. Whenever he was sidelined with that neck injury that he had, and just getting into, one-on-one moments with him where I kind of get to chat, kind of get to see how his brain operates. And I've never met a football player of his age, being this is just his second year, and he understands the game of football better than a lot of veterans in the league. And I don't say that as to be disrespectful to other players, but I say it to say that this man eats, sleeps, breathes football. And I told the story on the podcast as well, but one of our members of our PR staff shared a story with me about how whenever Damone was coming to training camp last year, obviously he was on the NFI, so he wasn't going to get to play. And even on the airplane on the way into his rookie season, his first training camp, he's on the charter plane watching film. And our PR staff behind him said, hey, you know, like, you've got a minute. It's going to be 9 months of football. You know, you can watch a movie. And Damone didn't care. He was watching film. And I think that eclipses who he is as a player. And he is so physical, y'all. Like, I feel bad for other teams that have to go against him, because when he tackles you, it's every bit of that 200+ frame hitting you. I think he's just a great definition of what you want your young football players to be, especially when you're in a situation where this defensive line is stacked. So you got to get your bread somewhere, right? And he's done a really good job of soaking in the mentorship from guys like Leighton Vander Esch. He talks a lot about that relationship that he has with LVE and just being able to lean on him in moments and be able to step up in the big moments, even as a second-year player. So I cannot say enough good things about Damone Clark.
That's Damone Clark. We've been talking about him. They were talking about Brady James Part 2 with him. I was hearing those echoes, and I've been saying Damone Clark is going to be a 100-tackle guy for the next 5 years. That's what he's going to be with the Cowboys. He's going to be all around the ball. You already saw him in that short period of time in the first half, had 5 tackles. But speaking of linebackers, let's stay on linebackers right quick, Hailey, because I want to ask you this. Obviously, I was wanting to see what the linebacker room looked like. Obviously, you know, you have Parsons, you have LVE, Damone Clark is coming into his own, but we wanted to see what the other guys are looking like. Devin Harper shined. I love the way he played. Overshown is the guy that we were going nuts about, right? Because he came out of nowhere. We seen him in practice, but we seen him come out of nowhere with it. Talk about those guys, and then talk to me about Jabril Cox, because I'm wondering, is he going to be the odd man out with Overshown stepping up? I like the way Devin Harper was playing. I'm still wondering what's going on with Jabril Cox, because Overshown came in starting with the first team on defense and played well. Cox was coming in behind him, second team, you know what I mean? I know, but Cox was coming behind him. Kind of talk about about that dynamic, if you could.
Yeah, I don't think, like I said before, it's preseason, so I'm not really taking into stock who's getting what snaps and when. I don't think any positions necessarily are solidified other than, you know, the big guys that we know, the Dax, the CDs, all of that. But what I will say about DeMarvion Overshown is we knew this guy was going to be a sleeper. If you go on YouTube right now and look up DeMarvion Overshown's high school tape on Huddle, it's ridiculous. It should not be allowed to be on the internet for free, because the way he hit, it's insane. And we actually we took a trip down before we came to training camp. We took a trip down to his hometown of Arp, Texas, just to kind of get a sense of like who he is as a person. Because if you know anything about him off the field, he's not your stereotypical football player. He's rural. He's country. He grew up in the country on a ranch with horses, and his family all in the city of Arp, Texas. And he's played every position on the field, basically. He started as a running back whenever he was very young. He eventually transitioned over into the defensive side of the ball, and I think he's played almost every position on, you know, that side of the ball, other than like defensive tackle. But he's physical. He reminds me so much of He reminds me so much of Donovan Wilson, and how Donovan plays like a linebacker, but he's a safety. And so you see his versatility on display in those games. And he even told us before we came out here, he said, you know, I'm treating this like a real game. This is a real game for me. I'm going to go out there and do what I do best. And so I think everybody got to see why there was so much hype around DeMarvion Overshown. I think as far as Jabril Cox goes, you just got to give him some time to get back in the groove of things. This is a guy who's struggled with some injuries over the last couple of seasons. He really hasn't had a chance to kind of get in the mix. But he's another guy who was super impressive after OTAs. We had made the jokes at OTAs that he didn't really care about the fines at the NFL getting out tackling rules, because he's out here trying to make the team. So he's still physical. He's still got that chip on his shoulder. Unfortunately, the defensive line, though, is an area that we are going to have to lose some talent for the sake of keeping other talent. And so I say this every day. I'm so glad I'm not the one that has to make those decisions, because Isaiah Land is also a guy who I'm really high on.
Oh, man. Wow.
Trying to find a for him to fit in, given the depth that this team already has on that side of the ball.
And shout out to you for this documentary. Your name is not on it right here, but you are the person behind it, man. So obviously you're doing some fantastic work. Just real quick, what's the story behind him being the guy that was leading the team? Was he that phenomenal at practice that they took a rookie to lead the first preseason, hype?
Are you talking about DeMarvion?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. Ask your question again. What you said?
So, like, he the one that led, the guys going out. Like, you know how they have somebody in the middle and they be hyping them up? Like, do you know the story behind that?
I don't know the story, but I know that he's had a good camp, and I know that that's kind of a characteristic of who he is. He's a natural leader, and I think that he's not afraid to kind of step in and really be that presence on the defensive side of the ball, especially when you think about the rookie class that's here. I would say he's one of the biggest leaders vocally and on the field for the rookie class this season. And I think that that's a role that he likes being in. Like I said, before we left, he told everybody how he was coming in the game. And so I think just getting that added energy of hyping up the crowd, or hyping up his teammates, I should say. He did break out practice 2 weeks ago, the first Saturday scrimmage, because he ended practice with that interception. So he had a chance to break out practice there as well. But I think you're just seeing that leadership role. He's another guy like Damone Clark, who's leaned a lot on Leighton Vander Esch. And so anytime Leighton Vander Esch is your mentor, that leadership aspect of it always comes with, because that's what makes Leighton such a benefit to that linebacker room, is that he's fantastic on the field, but also he enjoys and goes out of his way to help some of these younger guys be successful.
Real quick, before you go, because I know we said we got about 20 minutes with you, we're going to honor that because you're very busy. This is when I had love at first sight from this clip right here. This is when I was like, ooh, I got to interview her. We got to talk about this before you go.
Is Mike McCarthy a Hall of Fame coach? Like, even if he doesn't want the recognition, if that's not what he wants to be known for, I'm like, is he a Hall of Fame coach? And it's something to kind of keep in mind. But what I will say in this is, I think when you think about a Hall of Fame coach, when you think about, wins and losses, records, all of that, that is important. But I also think the way Mike has had to adapt his coaching style to the positions that he has been in, his first couple of years.
I'm so sorry. Give me 1 second. I was doing a little bit too much.
That's okay. I was looking at my makeup. That looks good.
Here, he was adjusting to having Jerry Jones as his boss and having a boss who's so involved in everything. He's adjusting to not being the one who's calling the plays. He's adjusting to an offensive coordinator whose philosophies don't meet with his. And now he's adjusting again to getting back to being the play caller. And all while he's done that, he has maintained the player-first mentality. He's maintained that he's got to take care of the guys in the locker room. He's constantly preaching about, the locker room is their space, and I want them to have that space. And so regardless if Mike McCarthy makes it into the Hall of Fame or not, I know that's a conversation that's like way, way, way down the line. Sure. But just seeing what he has been able to accomplish in his very short time in this locker room, in this organization, how he's affected the locker room, how he's been able to amicably work with people who, again, maybe he didn't agree with from a football standpoint. Wow. All of those things. For him to be kind of the old school, hard-nosed, kind of Pittsburgh, proud, strong guy, and to be making these adjustments like this on the fly, like that is something that needs to be discussed more often.
Yeah.
And I promise you, you were one of the first people that I really heard bring that to the light, with all the emphasis on everything that he went through. Like, I never really hear people talk about the dilemmas that he went through as a head coach. Can you expound on that? Because I don't know if you can add to that, but man, that was rich.
I think at the core of my journalism career, as someone who was a former collegiate athlete, as someone who's dated, former collegiate athletes and professional athletes, seen how they kind of have to operate, I'm very big on putting the person before the player. Because at the end of the day, these guys are great football players, but it's who they are as people. I think that makes them really stand out. And Mike McCarthy, in my opinion, is no different. It's the same thing. I went on a rant yesterday because the kicker situation that we have currently and have had for the last 2 seasons has been such a weird situation, and to the point where, Brandon Aubrey can't even step into a role and get a couple kicks in without people already counting him out. So I say that to say that putting that player or putting the person before the player is always something that's been important to me. And I think that's what makes me stand out, is being able to connect with these guys on a different level. And again, Mike McCarthy's no different. He's had to go through trials and tribulations to get to where he is. This is one of the most prolific play callers in the NFL. He's in the record books left and right. You can basically circle any offensive record, and he's somewhere within the top 5, top 8. But that's not to say that it's been easy for him. It's not been an easy road with him, especially not been easy for him in the Cowboys. He stepped into a situation where things were kind of in shambles on the coaching staff whenever he joined, and now you're also having to deal with a very involved general manager and owner in Jerry Jones. You're working with a guy like Kellen Moore, which, no disrespect to Kellen Moore, but his philosophies didn't match with what Mike McCarthy wanted to do. He waited that out. He got his opportunity. He earned the respect of Jerry, and now you see him in that role today. So I just think it's always important to put the people before the players, the people before the coaches, because we are who we are because of who we are, not because of the job that we do.
Love it. We have something called the final words, where you kind of finish out with what you was going to say. But before we do that with you, where you get your final words before you leave, I wanted to say that you're a true inspiration to women. And I think you've done a good job, you and the other ladies, Jess, Aisha, of destroying the stigma that's on women in football. I think in 1 year, like for instance, I'm not capping, I'm not playing, I'm not making this up, but we have somebody named Craven Cowboys. Her real name is Mickey. She actually got into space, and she said it was because of you, that you inspired her. So I know people looking at you, but for your mom who saw that you was nervous, you making a big impact to the community. And Big, did you have any other words before into our final words, Doc?
I just want to say you're very professional. This is, I've heard you from afar, and I've definitely admired you, but you are very professional. I think that's the biggest thing that I'm just listening to you talk, your delivery, how you bring things. That's very excellent. I've been in media school, and just to hear how your delivery, how well you speak, you're going to go even bigger places. I've seen you with the interview with Al Michaels. You're going to go way bigger places, way bigger platforms. Not saying this is a bad platform, but the world is yours. I'm just being real. Like I ain't even. I'm not even trying to front. The world is yours. Please take hold of it.
Oh yeah. So what's your final words? What's your final words, Hailey?
Yeah, I'll kind of piggyback off of that. I think it's important to be that role model for women in sports, because not saying that I didn't have role models in sports, but growing up, I was in that era where women being on the sidelines, Black women being on the sidelines, just still wasn't heard of. You had Pam Oliver, and that was really kind of it. So I appreciate the kind words. I did have a lady reach out to me via email on Saturday after the game to inform me that she didn't like my hair or my dress or anything about me, really. And I just want to say to, people who do that, like, it's unnecessary, because that email got deleted. She got me 500 new Twitter followers.
Right. Exactly. Appreciate it.
For that. Yeah, thank you for that. But no, listen, I just think it's so important, the things that you guys are doing as well, to elevate women in this industry, because it's tough. It's tough for us. We have to develop thick skin. We've got to be able to come on here and be able to be perfect and know exactly what we're talking about. Otherwise, we're called dumb. You got to have tough skin. So I appreciate you guys just for allowing the platform, and to any women out there, young gentlemen as well. It's not just women that I hope to inspire. Just know that you can get through anything. Like I said, I moved to Great Falls, Montana, and made $10 an hour, and here I am working for the Cowboys 5 years later. So just continue to grind, continue to put your head to the ground, and go Cowboys. We got
go Cowboys. Let's go, man.
Go Cowboys.
Fire.
Appreciate you, Haley.
Thank you, Haley.
Yeah, thank you guys
so
much.
Go crush that documentary. Do it
Thank
for
you.
us.
Yeah, it airs this Friday. You can catch it on Friday on DallasCowboys.com. It's called Close to the Vest. It's a fantastic piece about how Tom Landry was almost shot on Monday Night Football. So that's all I'm going to say. You'll have to tune in to watch the rest of it. But like I said, it airs on our website on DallasCowboys.com on Friday, and then it will air before the preseason game on CBS 11 on Saturday on television.
Thank you, Hailey.
Go check it out, Close to the Vest. It's going to be really good.
Thank you, Hailey. Loved it. You rocked it.
Bye. Thanks, guys.
All right.
Appreciate you.
That's the superstar of the future, Miss Hailey Sutton. Oh man.
She about to be superstar, dog. Like
Yeah. And shout out to Dallas.com, man. Let me be honest, Big, you've been knocking it out the box. Like, so it's crazy that last week Big booked Cal Yeomans, and then Cal Yeomans hooked Big up with who coming in tomorrow, Nick Harris, and we also had Hailey. So they all working together, but we working together.
Right.
And just to kind of
Nick's that up and comer too.
Oh, Nick is that up and comer. So it's like we're in a fortunate place as new media representatives, me and you, to where, man, the people that are in the fire, man, are rocking with us. So the fact that you see .com literally rocking with us, and no problem, she made room for us today, literally working on a documentary, but let's talk some football, man. Me and you need to talk about this training camp, bro. Yeah,
let's talk about it. Signings, training camp, preseason game, all that good stuff.
Man, you start. We freestyling, me and you.
Well, let's first start about the big thing is Zach Martin's back home. You
Yes,
feel me?
indeed.
Zach Martin is back in. I don't care who caved, who gave up what, and I don't care. You know what I'm saying? I don't care. It don't matter to me who caved, who tripped, who whatever. I'm just glad he's here. You did what y'all did. Y'all do it. I mean, we knew it wasn't going to be long. Let's keep it real. We knew it wasn't going to be long.
Yeah.
He wasn't going to give up no game checks.
No.
Now, those offensive linemen are smart, but they ain't giving up no game checks.
Right.
Not that. So you knew it was going to come, but I'm glad he came in the time that he did because that's a few weeks where you get to mess with your first team guys. They said the room erupted when he came in, the offensive lineman. I mean, he's a legend. I mean, he's going down in Cowboys as one of the greatest ever. And now it's time to really, I don't care what anybody says. It's time to make a Super Bowl run. And that was a missing piece to make a Super Bowl run. If you're trying to put all these pieces together and you're trying to make that run, this is the guy who you need to, if you wasn't getting crazy picks, this is the guy you need to right here to make this run. So let's go.
Let's go, man. Nah, we need Zach Martin. And like you're right, man. Who cares who folded or whatever, man? They done. Let's move on. We are going to take a light break because golly, I'm looking at this.
Yeah, get them lights up.
Yeah,
We just had Hailey on here, man.
We just had Hailey on here, bro.
What?
What?
We just had an Emmy Award winning.
Yeah, man.
Emmy
Man.
Award winning.
Yeah.
on now.
They gonna get them likes up, but God,
Yo got
dog.
fire.
Yo, yeah, man,
Hit 'em
get
up.
them like. Let me hit that real quick.
Dracarys.
Hey, and then my boy D Block said, Boss and Big, this is why I don't watch ESPN on any other 4-letter network, because here my voice matters. Ooh,
That's true.
love the content, man.
That's true.
Me neither. I stopped watching that
I
stuff.
mean, that's why we started this. I mean, let's keep it real, boss.
Yeah.
That's why we started this. I mean, when I started this in media school, 7 years ago, almost to the point, I wanted to have a platform, and I wanted not only be able to have a platform to myself, but to have a platform for people to be able to talk about the Cowboys, to be able to talk about what we want. Because so many times, boss, we saw when you watch the ESPN, let's keep it real. When you watch the ESPN, when you watch that back in the day, did you not say, man, I know that?
Yeah.
Man, I could say that.
All day.
I know what he's saying. I'm
and-
saying what he's saying before
And you'll
he's
say,
saying
man,
it.
he wrong. Like
Really? Oh
really?
my God. I'm like, no, I can't. I said, you know what? I'm gonna have to go to school and figure this out, because come on, dog. They're saying this and I'm saying it right before them. You feel me?
Right. Yeah, nah, man. That's exactly why we did get into this. And I'm just like you, bro. I do not at all watch 4-letter networks. I don't miss it. I don't fit. I used to.
It used to be good back in the day, but then it got real watered down. You know, I remember when it was Tom Jackson and Chris Berman Now I ain't gonna lie, I was hyped. That was my young years. They was the forefronters. You feel me? They laid the blueprint and to what we could get into. But once all these other guys start coming in, that's when it let me know, well, shoot, if they just letting those guys in, you know what? We need to make a mark. But you know, the biggest thing was, boss, that we have done in this community is told the truth about Cowboys, because so many times when we watched the Cowboys back in the day, we only heard that face value. We never got the nitty and gritty about the Cowboys. You feel me, boss? We would never find out the behind the scenes. We were always hearing the sensationalism. We were always hearing the bad things about the Cowboys. We were never hearing the in-depth things. Nope. And this is what we were allowed to do because we are fans. We were fans first and foremost. So we dig deeper. We're going to give you the truth. We're going to give you the absolute, because we wanted the truth. So we want to give the truth. If we had to get the truth from them, we wanted that truth. And I just love how it's flowing out. All the content creators that are with the Cowboys, I think we're the best content. Somebody said it out there today that Cowboys content creators are the best. Hey, I'm biased, but we fierce out there. We fierce out there in these streets. Close. I mean, we fierce out there.
It's not
in
even
streets,
close,
dog.
bro. It's not even close. But that's also why I greatly appreciate her, Hailey, because I've been waiting on somebody to say what she said, and she said it so professional, so much grace, no attitude with it, but she perfectly described the dilemma of what Mike McCarthy was going through perfectly. A controlling owner, having an OC throwing on you with a different philosophy. I was waiting on somebody to talk like her.
You feel me? And said it just so eloquently.
And it was just truth.
Y'all had to rewind it. It was so easy. You might slipped and didn't ever see what she was really talking about.
Right.
The way she said it so smoothly, you're probably gonna have to rewind and see what she was saying, especially when she was talking about how he didn't want Kellen Moore. He was just waiting his time out. What we have been talking about, just waiting the time out. That's why he wasn't backing him, and he just kind of just let him go do his thing, because guess what? I ain't with you, but if you got that offense, let's see it. You feel me? That's what it was sounding like. Oh, now it's okay. You seen, now it's not working. Can I do it my way now? You feel me?
She was the only, and it take courage to do that, man. My boy Dave in the building, man. What's up, Dave? I be seeing my boy Dave on Twitter. Good to see you in the building, big dog. Always good to see other people putting in their work in the streets of YouTube and doing podcasting. So welcome, man, to Boss Cowboy Sports, man.
What's good, Dave?
He's
got the chop shop or something like that over there. They got a nice old studio.
Man, that dude's studio is money.
That studio is banging, dog. That's a money studio. That's a money studio.
I'm about to call you for a consult.
For real. That's a money studio. Money.
No, man, good to have you in the building, Dave. So, so I want to get to some of the other stuff real quick. But first, man, just between me and you before we get into more content real quick. What's your thoughts on the game, bro?
I felt great. I felt great about the game. Obviously, the offensive line, it was a little bit of a worry in the beginning because it was uneven. But I liked how they battled back. They stayed with it. Even like Will Greer, he was shaky in the beginning, made some funny plays, but, he still battled back, threw a couple touchdowns. Obviously, we seen Deuce is loose. We were super excited about that. I saw positives from Rico Dowdell. Jalen Tolbert, the receivers, John Stevens. We saw Ferguson. I mean, even Asim Richards, he looked okay at the left tackle. I mean, and the defense, we talked about Overshown. Them linebackers were flying out everywhere. That's what I wanted to see, was those linebackers. And then even when Hailey Sutton was talking about, because I was talking about in the game, Tuck had been talking about him too. I think you had mentioned it was Isaiah Land. That man, you better find out a way to keep him on the roster, dog, because he was in the backfield all game, every play. Keep him. Figure out a way to keep him. Sam Williams, Dante Fowler, Mozzie, big boys, they didn't run up the middle on us. You feel what I'm saying? Like, we just got a wave of talent, dog. And just what Hailey was saying is like, it's bad and good, right? Bad that you like, damn, we got to get rid of some of these good players, but good because your team is so good. That's when you want. When your team is that good that you're cutting good players, that's when you feel great about your team. Now, I don't know about y'all, but that's when I feel great about the team, when you have that dilemma, when you have to cut good players. Because when you don't have that dilemma, your team's not that good. So that's what I feel good about, that they're going to have to really go through this roster and say, damn, who are we cutting? Because we got a lot of good players. I mean, that second team defense, the way it banged against Jacksonville's first team offense, I loved it. And that just gets you more excited. And then I can't wait till this offensive line. I love the play calling. Dog, I'm just going rambling. I'm just rambling. I like the play calling because I want to see Dak. You feel what I'm saying? Yeah. Underneath center. Things that Dak is very good at, in my opinion. Underneath center, play action. We saw that in the game. Also, we saw that quick, no huddle, quick offense. I also feel like Dak is better when he's in that quick offense, can really snap and come to the line of scrimmage. That's when we're really good, when we can outpace people. And you saw it right there with the backups. Imagine what we can do with our first teamers. We didn't have CD. We didn't have Cooks. We didn't have Gallup. And we still looked like we could be explosive right there. We didn't have Pollard. Wait till we see Pollard up in that offense, dog. So, yeah, I'm excited. A lot of good positives, especially because we played against some Jacksonville starters, and they weren't backing down.
Let me go with what you just said. Here we go. Listen to this.
What were your main takeaways?
Yeah, I thought there was a lot of positives, like you mentioned. Obviously, the score doesn't necessarily reflect that, but the good thing about preseason games that I continue to stress is that it's just that. It's preseason, it's extended practice, and it's a really good opportunity for these guys to get those reps. I did have a chance to catch up with some of the veterans in the locker room, CeeDee Lamb and Michael Gallup in particular, and I asked them, first off, how nice is it to not have a camera in your face after a game in the locker room, and they loved it, but they were so complimentary of what these young guys did. CeeDee Lamb even told me the fact that our twos were running against Jacksonville's ones, and the fact that our twos were running against Jacksonville's ones, the fact that our twos were running against Jacksonville's ones and making plays says a lot about the future of this team.
And that's what Big was just talking about. My boy Big over there talking like CeeDee Lamb.
No.
Yeah, hey. Yeah, that's what
How'd
I walked
you feel
out
about it?
Man, that's what I walked out the most encouraged with, bro. Because, see, when I knew the twos was getting ready to go against the ones, I was like, all right, if we get smoked tonight, that's a playoff team. But I'm going to take it player by player. No, we gave those dudes the business. Yes, with our B team. It was our B team versus their A team. And see, shout out to my old man. My dad. I see the OC in the building. I got you, OC. I see you in the building. You know, my dad, he stopped being the Cowboy fan after we fired Jimmy. Y'all better not say nothing about my dad neither. I mean that too. Don't get that comfortable when you say something about my old man. But anyway, so, man, the first thing my old man said is, "Oh, you lost." That's the first thing he said. And I was like, "Pop, our twos was going against our ones, Pop." You know what I mean? He was like, "Oh, okay. Yeah, so, when you look at how, man, bro, because the whole time I was thinking, this is not even Micah. This is not even Tank. Right. This is not even, you know what I mean, Donovan Wilson and Curse. This is not, I was like.
This is not Diggs. This is not Gilmore.
Diggs. This is not
This
Gilmore.
is not CD. This is not Cooks. This is not the offensive line.
And I see y'all super chats, man. I'm putting y'all super chats away, man. I'm going to take them. But, bro, I was like losing my mind. OC, what's on your mind, bro? Oh, Lord.
Oh, man, I think that, again. Oh my goodness.
Oh God.
That Wi-Fi monster said he see when he come in and he about to just bust heads. He want to act that our Wi-Fi monster want to act up.
All right.
No. Go. Go.
It's just working out.
Oh God.
So look, man, I think that it's trying to work. It's trying to work. So look, man. The Cowboys are showing that they're building the team properly with depth underneath the tutelage of Mike McCarthy, and this is the benefit of having a Super Bowl winning coach, because over the last several years we progressively got better from the first man to the last man in terms of the 53-man roster. And so the drafts, the acquisitions, the free agent pickups have all aligned to give us players that can compete across the board, whether a player is injured, whether we have a player not report to camp like Zach Martin, things like that. And that's the makeup of like a really good team in terms of how you run your football operation. And so McCarthy, more so, I want to give him a lot of credit, more so than anybody, has brought that philosophy, him as well as Dan Quinn, to the organization that previously we didn't have. Think about it. Previously, if we had a 2 out there against a 1, we might get destroyed. Like our depth was not there. Our depth was not there to be like, oh, we got this guy. Okay, well, we'll just sub him in. That's how we think now. But the last 4 years ago, it wasn't there.
Man, y'all clap it up for OC's Wi-Fi. It got
Clap
a little
it up
better.
for that
Clap
Wi-Fi.
it up.
It got better as a week.
Clap
it up.
I got
Clap
hope
it up.
now. I got hope in life. My boy Wi-Fi cleaned up, man. It's just straight business, bro. It's just straight business. So I'm going to get into a couple of topics that she brought up and just kind of get y'all opinion on it. So first, let's start with Dennis Houston. I'm going to start with my boy Dennis Houston. Here we go. Hold on. No, I'm going to start with Steven. Here we go.
Also, Jess, you mentioned in the first block, we didn't get a chance to talk about him, but Luke Schoonmaker.
Yeah.
I don't know how much playing time he'll get on Saturday just because he's still in what Mike McCarthy is referring to as the ramp-up period. But he did take another step in his practice yesterday, or day before. We just had a walkthrough yesterday. John Stevens is a guy who a lot of these people are high on. I spoke to Will Greer about it the other day, and he said he is the best athlete he's ever seen. And I didn't realize how tall John Stevens was. He's literally like, I feel like if I was standing on a stool, I still wouldn't be tall enough to look him in the eye.
Man. So I want to talk about this Stevens, man. John Stevens. And see, I said something on my Twitter. And I wanted to ask her, but I was like, I'll just talk to her another time. We'll get to it. But this is what I said, which also applies to Stevens. So I'm going to run this by y'all. And that link, I got all the links in the description too. So the full interviews of what she done is already in the description. So all the work and clips that I'm showing is compliant. Just keep that in mind. But under the lights, I said Dennis Houston deserves some love. He was key to this drive and was targeted 3 times in a row. If a backup QB keeps targeting a player in the game, that usually means the trust was established in practice. She had to go, or I was going to ask her, what kind of chemistry is developing between Dennis Houston and Jones, right? And let me ask that, do y'all see what I'm seeing on that? Because it looked like he kept targeting 2 people. Dennis Houston, when he got in trouble, when Will Greer got in trouble, he was targeting Dennis Houston and he was targeting John Stevens. What's y'all thoughts on that? I'm going to start with you, OC.
Yeah, man. So on my side of it, man, let me fix my light real quick. Thanks. So on my side of it, man, I think that this helps a guy make a football team. Let me just put it that way. Because if you remember the average Noah Brown, right? He had chemistry. He also had chemistry with the backup, right? And so, when you got chemistry with the backup and they believe in you, then, man, I think that it's going to help you make the football team, and it's a positive thing. So I'll just stop right there.
As far as I'm concerned, I mean, that's a good thing, but here's the thing. Dennis Houston was with the team last year, so that's good for him that he got experience. Remember, he was our starter week 1, so it's not like he wasn't actually seeing the field. So the fact that he's come along, I feel like, look at when Greer was throwing the ball, he hit 2 big, long passes with Houston, and he was yanking them right down. So you know what? The pressure's on. Dennis Houston sees, hey, last year I had a chance because Noah Brown was here, Gallup was still hurt. Now he's looking at it like, okay, Tolbert's done stepped up. Fejoko's here. Brooks is here. There's a lot of guys out here playing for. So everything I throw to you, you need to catch because guys, it's a different year, right? There's more competition, so you have to make plays. Anything you do stands out. But I also want to say Will Grier, and I feel like the team was trying to get Brooks that ball too, because when you saw Brooks early in the game, they were targeting him early and often. So I think that was a situation where they were liking Brooks. We were all talking about him being the darling of camp as well. They were trying to get these young guys the ball. Today. And you know what I'm saying? So that was good to see. But Stevens, I'm going to tell you right now, is making that squad. Charlotte, I heard Charlotte Jones loves him. And the size, Charlotte Jones love you making squads, dog. I'm going to keep it real. Charlotte Jones like you making squads, dog. You ain't getting cut. So right there, you're going to make the team right there. And plus, just like what Hailey said, he's 6'6", but he looked like a big 6'6". He looked like 6'8". You know what I mean? He's imposing. Yeah. And you know what else I like about this, John Stevens? He breaks away from that mold. I feel like the Cowboys are getting away from that mold of the Jason Witten. That Jason Witten era with the Jason Garretts, and, they wanted the Jason Witten guy. You know what I mean? We're getting away from that era. Fergie has sneaky athleticism. Yep. Hendershot has athleticism. Yep. Guess what? Schoonmaker has athleticism. Yep. And now you got John Stevens who has athleticism. And that's what we've been wanting to get better at the tight end. And that's what Mike McCarthy likes. Athletic type tight ends. You had Jermichael Finley on your podcast saying these type of things. And now look at the blueprint of the guys that we have as tight ends. We have athletic tight ends now, not the guys back in the past. And that's another thing of removing ourselves from that Garrett era. Give me a yoga fire. Hey, I love being a Cowboy.
Big game change.
Game changer.
Let's have some fun. Let's have a good time, man. Let's kick it.
Yoga rain. Man, that boy Big went crazy. We got the man in the building. 100K clapping up. 100 is in the building.
What's good with you, man? What's good with you? So, all of you guys said the proper things, and Boss used to say this too down the line, if you can win the crowd. The main thing, if you can win the crowd. And you see what John Stephen Jones, when you have Charlotte Jones saying those things about him and the guy running like a gazelle, the only weak spot is that he can't do inline block that well, but there's always room for improvement. I call him Baby Shay Shay. Remember Shay Sharp? He went from being a wide receiver to a tight end and just lit up the league. So I see those type of potentials in him, an Antonio Gates type of person. So if he can continue to excel and do this and elevate his game to their 49 for your mind. We can't stand the 49ers, but we would like that 49 right there and keep it good for us, man. So, yeah, I do agree with that. Now, as far as the assessment with Dennis Houston, he going to have to overcome Jalen Brooks as well as Kevontae Turpin with the spark aspect that Turpin bringing to the table. We all like Houston, right? And we want him to excel his game because we know the potentials of him. Like you said, he was 33 yards or 30-something yards, 3 catches last game, did drop a single pass, did his assignment well, and he's out there with a junkie quarterback. Can't wait to see him if he can run with the first team because he can showcase his talent and what he brings to the table.
Man, wait. Well, see, Law, you can't come in like this, bro.
What you mean?
You can't come in like this, dog. Say, listen, bro. Let me tell you how I feel right now. Y'all tell me if y'all feeling the same. You know, I'm the little brother in my family. All right, but I had big brothers, and I've been in fights. And sometimes you fight, and then you look up, just like them dudes did in Alabama, right? And the cavalry is coming. And when I look up, it's Big Brother Law, man. I feel so good. My boy Law is in the building, man. Y'all clap it up one more time for my dog. Y'all clap it up for him, man.
Appreciate it.
Yes, indeed, man. Yes, indeed. All right, man. So, I want to get into something real quick too with this that she talked about, and then we'll go around. Here we go.
Moan, what did you think about Jalen Tolbert in a similar situation?
Yeah, definitely another kid that I was just like a proud mama bear of whenever he caught that touchdown, because you've seen the transition that he's gone through. You can tell how different he looks out here at practice. He's got more confidence. He's playing with a spring in his step, and that touchdown was definitely impressive. Good for him.
Yeah, first professional touchdown, preseason or regular season for Jalen Tolbert, and he's looking for more this week in Seattle against the Seahawks on Saturday. For Hailey Sutton and our entire Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, and shout out to Hailey, man. Hailey been hitting it, man. So what's your thoughts, Law? We gonna come right back to you, dog.
Yeah, I told her I didn't like what she was doing out there at Oxnard. I love it, And she paused because she's like, wait a minute, what did I do? I said, I love what you're doing out there, because she's representing hard, and she's out there putting in the great work. And her observation of Jalen Tolbert is remarkable, because we got a chance to see him grow. And sometimes, people like to paint players into a corner or put them into a box. That's not the case nor a scenario for him, because his second season, he don't have to worry about all of those options, right? He don't have to worry about all of those stop routes. Now he can freely play his game. He can take the notes and digest what Michael Gallup's taught him of the world, the Brandon Cooks, as well as my guy CeeDee Lamb. So that's why you're seeing him excel. And yes, he's our future. I foresee him being a good, solid number 2 paired up with CeeDee Lamb for the near future. So yes, he's a 4-4 guy. That's big game James guy from last year. He the one put me on him or what have you. The guy from South Alabama that can catch the ball in traffic. So now we're seeing it come together. So yeah, I'm seeing that he's going to take that extreme leap forward, and he's got nothing but high hopes and promises for the future.
I mean, this is why they drafted Tolbert to begin with, and now he's getting the opportunity to show why they drafted him. Winning on routes, catching the ball out of the air, being an athlete, running past people, being dynamic. And to be honest, the sky's the limit. He potentially, if he continues to trend up, he could end up being a number 1 type. He could end up being a number 1 type, because he has that. And I'm serious, and I'm not just saying that just to be saying something. He has that much potential and that much upside in this game, because of the fact that you eliminated the thing that, hey, really just slowed him down. You're making him have 15 checks and, look like headlights lining up on a line of scrimmage, and, he's scared out of his mind. You're taking the fear away. And when you take the fear away and you give great athletes confidence, the sky is the limit. So really excited for him. And I think he's going to progressively get better and put up more numbers and be more dynamic as the preseason and the regular season goes on.
You see him as an ex.
Hold on real quick. I'm sorry, y'all. We got to do some housekeeping.
No doubt.
400 people up in here. 250 likes.
Shame. Shame. Shame.
That's just wrong. That's terrible. That is
terrible.
Now, we did not pull a bait and switch for people, because some people think Hailey wasn't here. She was already here. She was here earlier. So she gone.
You gotta be on time.
You gotta be on time. So she
left. They tagged me in, y'all.
Exactly.
I'm just not as cute as her, but good God, man, we talking football now, though, baby. Let's go.
We back to talking football, man. Come on, man. Them likes. That's disrespectful. That's disrespectful. Big.
Yes, indeed. Come on, man.
Damn.
Well, I'm excited about Tolbert because I was excited about Tolbert last year. As Law was saying, I actually went to the Senior Bowl on Jalen's last year, and Jalen's from South Alabama, and that's where the Senior Bowl was at, so I got to see him up close and personal. And I was really liking him. I had him on a couple of my mock drafts. I felt like he was going to be a guy. And to OC's point, I'm gonna say this even more, that watch for Michael Gallup, because I know you was hyped about Michael Gallup. You was hyped about Michael Gallup, boss. But I'm gonna tell you right now, if Tolbert keeps on creeping up, he may start taking some catches away from Gallup this season, and something may be on the horizon later on when you're talking about ascending roles of receivers. And I just feel like he might take some snaps away from Michael Gallup this year if he continues to trend up, because he looks confident now. Those hands look strong. Everything like OC said, you want in the number one. I mean, his numbers were dynamic in college. He was not, chopped liver in school. He had 1,400 yards his last season. Over 10 touchdowns. So the explosion is there. And as long as he continues to keep growing, which I think he will, that touchdown gave him confidence. That was probably a huge confidence booster. Like, I got it. I finally got out the way. Now I can really play football. And I feel like you're going to just see him really accelerate his game as the season wears on.
Big, do you
and I want to answer Law's question real.
Do you see him number one big game? Because my guy, the OC said he see number one.
I think he's a strong 2. I think he's a strong 2. I don't know about number 1. I think he's a real strong 2. Kind of how like Michael Gallup was. He reminds me of Michael Gallup, but a little better athletic ability. If you ask me, that's what I see in him, a Michael Gallup with better athletic ability.
SCB.
Yeah, and to clarify, I said number 1-ish, and what I want to do is answer Law's question because he said ish.
That ish will get you out of trouble. Ish will get you out of trouble.
I said 1-ish.
Put ish on everything.
You know the ish with the elbow. Ish.
Yes. And so, but I want to clarify that because I think his upside is really unlimited, and I think he can play X, Z, or Y. I think the issue that happened last year is that he didn't play anything because of the fact that you confused the mess out of this man and he was unproductive. You could have just taught him one position last year, right? You could have just taught him the Z. Right, then you had this season to add on top of that and get him more comfortable. But I see him as a guy, in my opinion, that can play multiple positions on that football field. And I really do think the sky's the limit for him. And look, he is going to put pressure on Gallup. And if Gallup gets hurt or is not as productive, he will get those snaps. So I'm doubling down on what Big Game James said because he's younger, he's fresher, he hasn't had injuries, and he's used to being a bona fide number 1, albeit at Southern Alabama, true. But a guy that has a number 1 mentality, when you start to feed him the ball, he begins to rise and become what he really was. And so just remember that when we talk about Jalen Tolbert. I told you first.
And remember, he said it first. That's the OC straight business, man. I love it, man, because I foresee him being a solid guy, always being at 1 next to CeeDee Lamb. That's the only close one that he will be because I foresee CeeDee Lamb playing for no other team but the Cowboys.
Yeah, that 88 go for a very
88 and 18.
Very long time. My boy Big Santana said, man, it's good to see the whole crew together, man. It's good to see everybody, bro. It is. Me and Big, we've been holding it down, man. The
I appreciate
OC been
y'all,
having
man.
stuff. The Law been having stuff. Man. But I've been like, bro, it's not the same with one of us missing, bro. I mean that too. It's different. Like we don't get that flyness with Law not in the building. We don't get that intellectual, professorship when the OC not in the building. We don't get that really real when Big not in the building, and you don't get the investigative work. And if I'm not in the building, man, we need each other, bro. And I love to find a word. I mean that too.
Tang, woo, tang,
woo, tang, woo. All right, man. But man, like so, OC, we didn't have you for the post game, bro. So I want to kind of get your thoughts and takeaways just in general of the game, highlights, lowlights. And we got Kevin Gray in the building, man. Man, this is the
Kevin Gray, salute.
Well, hold on, I gotta hit the button when the president walk in the
Salute.
building. I mean this, bro. When the president walk in the building, I gotta hit the button. Hold on.
Yeah.
The button ain't working. See, that's what happened when you're trying to say Thank you. President. That's the presidential button right there. That's it. But thank you for holding it down for me, Law. Go ahead, OC.
Yeah. I'll try to get there.
Oh man, yeah. So just real quick, man. I'm more so of a guy that likes to reserve judgment after the first preseason game because it is the first preseason game. Yeah. So I like to see a couple preseason games before I really start to give assessments. Although we did see some good things, we saw a 2 offensive line do some good things. They were solid, right? They made some plays. They opened up some lanes. Could be a little bit better on the protection some, but hey, man, that's your second offensive line going against the ones. Defensively, I felt like we were okay. I think that, look, Overshown showed that he could play. right? Our draft pick out of the University of Texas showed he can play. Deuce showed that, man, he can play. And he's a guy that will demand carries out of the backfield for us. You know, other than that, man, I thought that it was what it should be. It was a solid outing. It was competitive. It was fairly physical on both sides, and we didn't get smacked around. And that's the biggest thing that you want to see with that first preseason game. You want to see competition, and you want to see where you're not getting out physical by a team. Now, the rest, like I said, I'll leave to see after this second week, and then we'll have more of a pattern of consistency, and I can give more detailed assessment.
And then, Law, obviously you back now. I never heard from you just your general thoughts, bro. Like what is Law feeling in his heart?
Yes, man. Deuce Vaughn, hey, he looks pretty good. Our number 2 team on defense and number 3 team on defense stood tall against the number 1 team on the offense for the Jaguars. So I did like that. Shout out to Wanye Thomas. It's good seeing my last name out there doing some great things. He was able to stand tall. Keep this in mind, ladies and gentlemen. You know, Dono got hurt before, right? And J-Rock got his name out there. Now, all of a sudden, Dono get hurt, and now we're seeing Wanye. So there's a pattern, meaning that this defense knows how to make the necessary adjustment, know how to get things going. So I don't like what I see out of defense. I love what I see. Now, I'm going to go back to my guy, the OC, on the offensive line, because that was the only thing that had trepidations there. I like what I seen out of Earl Bostic. Is that something to grab hold to? Is he a guy that can make this team rightfully? Is he a guy that we need to pay close attention to? Because he looks solid. Now, the other guy, Joshua Ball, I'm not going to call him Josh. I'm just going to call him by his full name. Joshua Ball looks like he got my guy, Zach Martin, paid because he didn't look like he was able to hold his own ground. Now, Matthew, well, let's go. Matthew stepped up in this game, but we need to see, like you said, levels of consistency. I want to know who are the offensive line do I need to pay attention to this upcoming preseason game, DOC.
Yeah, Law, man, that's great work, man, on your side, and great layup. So, look, Josh Ball is what we thought he was, man. I mean, no offense. At this point, I think that he's a guy that's a backup. He's more of a backup type guy, and he's running with the twos, and he should be. You know, so and I'm not dogging on him or nothing like that. I just think he's a guy that's had 9 lives, and they like him, right? You know, as it relates to the other guys, Matt Walensko did a solid job. I think Matt Walensko needs to be quicker out of his stance. You do need to see more explosion out of his hands, better hand placement, better hand strength as he goes against higher levels of competition. But again, this was the first preseason game. So my thought and my philosophy, and I got my coach hat on, I'm looking at all y'all. I want to see if you progress and who makes the biggest leap from week 1 preseason to week 2 preseason, because now I'm thinking about who we go to keep on this team, who's going to make the 53-man roster. It's getting a lot more serious after that second preseason game. So I want to see who leaps up from the first game to the second game. So that would be my answer.
Okay, cool. And your thoughts on Earl? Not Campbell.
Earl, I think, you know, I like what I saw. Overall, I think that, hey, he has the opportunity to make this team for sure. You know, my philosophy is the first time you're lucky, second time it's a fluke, the third time you're consistent. So, hey, like I said, I got to see just a little bit more out of him before the OC signs off and says he is the gifted one. Yeah.
Big.
True. Okay.
We coming right at you, but I want to show something real quick because I said I was going to kind of showcase this interview that Law quarterback the hell out of this. So it's courtesy of Inside the Huddle and SportsCon, first of all. But I said out of SportsCon, and we interviewed some fireballs. Shout out to Law Nation for opening it up. We interviewed some fireballs. To me, the best interview was Finley. So I'm coming to you right now, Big, after this.
Do me a huge favor. Can you break down West Coast offense juxtaposed to when Dak Prescott was playing in the offense last year? Mike McCarthy said, I don't like those stop routes. I don't like those option routes. I don't like that. Can you break? And then they continue to do that.
Why did he say wow like that? Wait. Shout out to Law Nation. This is why we need Law Nation. Hold on. Let me hit the button real quick. Hold on real quick. Watch Law cook. Watch.
Option routes. I don't like that. Can you break? And then they continue to do that. That's something that he said he didn't like. So can you break it down?
Look at me. Look at me. No, you made me sit up in my seat. Look.
I don't like that. Can you break? And then they continue to do that. That's something that he said he didn't like. So can you break it down?
Yeah, I can. You good.
You good. That boy good.
Yeah, that's fire.
I try to be, you know.
Hey, when I went to Green Bay, man, the thing I saw was McCarthy getting the ball out. He got the ball out. So the West Coast offense is very intriguing to me. They do their thing. And guess what? You got to be very smart at that quarterback.
Okay.
One thing Aaron Rodgers is very smart.
Oh, yeah, he's smart now.
And we didn't touch the field often. We was more classroom settings. So we done a walkthrough, prepare for another walkthrough.
Okay.
And then we touch the field.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So that's what McCarthy brings to it, and that West Coast offense. But Dak's got to do more audibles. He's got to audible things. When he see a linebacker doing something, he's got to replace the ball with the linebacker. And that's what Aaron Rodgers did.
Man.
Ooh, let me pause and go to you, Big, and I'm going to come back to that. I can't handle no more, Big. What's your thoughts? Oh, my.
Thoughts on what, the O-line we talking about, or with the West Coast, or both?
Whatever you want to talk about, whatever got your attention.
Well, we already talked about that with the offense, and I'm gonna go back to that. But I want to kind of slow play with OC with the offensive lineman, because I tagged him because I wanted to ask him specifically about Let's Go and Asim Richards. Let's Go, I wanted to ask him about because I was listening to what OC said and I was feeling him. I thought Let's Go played strong. I'm not strong. I say he was active. He was real active, but I thought that one of his problems was he has a really long reach, but he wasn't getting his arms extended too many times. Guys were getting up in his chest. They weren't really moving him around too much, but they were getting up in his chest. And I'm not the offensive lineman, but I know that you got to keep your hands in front of you and keep those guys at bay. And I was seeing a lot of that from him. And I was wondering, can that be something that was kind of a hindrance? And can we see something better? And then even Asim Richards, I thought he was pretty decent athletically on there. I thought his kick was coming out good. I thought he was using good hand placement. I thought he played pretty well for his first outing, especially playing at the backup. He was starting left tackle. So I just want to get his quick thoughts on both of those players kind of in depth. And if we're talking about the West Coast offense, as I said before, I like the quickness. I like the no huddle. I think Dak is better when you can go quick tempo, and I love how they were really pushing the pace. And I like how they were coming under center. Too many times we saw that shotgun, it be 3rd and 1 and we in shotgun. You feel what I'm saying? It's we right at the goal line. We at the 2-yard line and we in shotgun. You feel me? Doing plays like that don't make sense. I said this will be more responsible football, more responsible play calling, and I thought you saw that. And I love seeing Schottenheimer on the bench, sitting Will Greer down. What do you see? What are you talking about? And I think that settled him down, and I thought he played better when you had Schottenheimer down there as well. So I like that dynamic, and if OC can hit that for me, I'd be greatly appreciated.
All right, big bro, I got you for sure. So if you're looking at, Asim Richards, man, he's much better than he was on any tape I saw at North Carolina, in my opinion. Like that first preseason game. Okay, he's much improved. Okay, so if he's been working with somebody, this guy has to be working with Duke, putting in a lot of extra time. Yeah, because his kick is more fluid, his hands are better. Is he where he needs to be? No, but you can see the potential and the raw material of a guy that could be a solid tackle and player for you. So shout out to him on that. Again, I need to see more before I'm fully convinced. Athletically, yeah, he's there. Strength-wise, I think that Asim Richards has to be a lot. He has to get stronger. But the good news about strength, that's the easiest thing to fix is strength, right? You can fix strength, all right? But athleticism is harder to fix. So athleticism, yeah, he has athleticism. I think awareness, I think hand placement and punch, he needs to be better at. I think understanding pre-snap reads. Like a lot of times when I say a pre-snap read, this is what I mean, is that if a guy's lying close to you, you need to set him a certain type of way, right? You don't want to jump off the ball and give the guy the inside lane if he's lined up tight. Right, it's just things like that. If you see a linebacker shifted over and he's stacked right behind the defensive end, Well, you could have a game or you could have a fire or a fan call. It's pre-snap recognition. So with him, that's the experience part. It's just recognition. As it relates to Matt Wielensko, just more details since you asked. Matt Wielensko is a big, strong dude that can swallow dudes up, right? He's added strength since he's came out of North Dakota, right? He's added some strength. So you can see that from when he played in North Dakota to kind of what you saw this first preseason game. What he needs to work on is the twitch. It's the quickness, and in particular, the hands. Well, the reason why he's getting hit in his chest is because he's carrying his hands too low, and he's carrying his hands too wide. So as an offensive lineman, you got to carry your hands in a way to where, you protect the chest plate and you're able to strike first, right? And so what happens is a lot of times you have what I call the bow effect, to where you kick off the ball and you round your hands, right? You round your hands and you're hitting outside shoulder pads. Well, that's exposing your chest, and it's allowing the dudes to drive into your chest. And if it's a good defensive lineman coach or a good defensive lineman, if you give him chest, he's supposed to take your chest. He's supposed to take your chest and drive you into the quarterback and rip your heart out, or either stick you and disengage and get off and make a play. That's what he's supposed to do. So it can be fixed. It will take time, because I don't think Matt Wielensko is used to the speed that he's seeing at the NFL level yet. He hasn't got adjusted to the speed, right? And so and it's going to take time for him to get adjusted to the speed. But yes, he can drill and train, covering his hands, keeping his hands tight. And also he can do something I used to do in college, and something that the great Clancy Barone, who coaches for the Vikings now, he can do dot drills, which teaches him a placement on how to locate in the chest plate and target with his hands. So that's a detailed explanation. There you go.
Man,
appreciate you.
Good. That's great.
I didn't get it. I'm about to call you and talk about that a lot slower.
All right.
For real, Lord have mercy.
I was talking French, man. I'm sorry. In other words, man, let me give you the quick version. Okay, look here. Here's the quick version.
No, you good.
I got you.
No, you good.
Hey, 5 seconds. When you're an offensive lineman, man, you cannot carry your hands outside of your chest plate.
Okay.
You need to carry your hands inside, almost like you doing a close grip bench press. That's a better analogy. You see how tight your hands are when you're doing a close grip bench press? You need to carry your hands somewhere in your framework. If your hands are outside of your framework, then, man, you can get shocked and people can take advantage of you and get underneath you. That's a simple
The OC.
There's no emotions, no friends, no loyalty.
Straight business.
Straight business.
Put hashtag straight business in the chat.
Man, that beat always go hard. Every time.
It does.
All right. Yeah, but Law, did you have something before I play the B part of that?
Nah.
All right, we're going to jump right into it, man. And again, shout out to Inside the Huddle and SportsCon, and obviously Loud Nation, because Loud Nation was the quarterback of all these interviews. Like, he quarterbacked the hell out of this. Here we go.
Man, my goodness, man.
Let me play one more thing he said, too. He said, replace the ball with the blitzer.
Touch the field.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So that's what McCarthy brings to it, and that West Coast offense. But Dak's got to do more audibles. He's got to audible things.
Which now we know Jermichael was telling the truth, because what have they been saying? Dak is controlling the offense, right?
Yeah.
So everything he's saying here happened later.
When he see a linebacker doing something,
right,
he's got to replace the ball with the linebacker. And that's what Aaron Rodgers did.
Man, my goodness, man. That's some gems right here, Jermichael Friendly, man.
So, Jermichael, now, when Mike McCarthy got here, I said that Zeke Elliott's probably going to suffer the most under Mike McCarthy, because I felt like McCarthy was a passing coach instead of a running coach. Is that kind of true? Was I off a little bit there, or how do you?
He's not a running coach.
He's not. So I thought Zeke was going to suffer.
Watch this though. Yeah.
Watch this.
No, he didn't. But at the end of the day, when I played for the Green Bay Packers, we had 6 guys that were number 1.
Right there.
And
right
Aaron
there.
Rodgers. We had Jordy Nelson,
Stop it right there.
James Jones,
Stop it right there.
Greg Jennings,
Get it.
myself.
Come on.
Randall Carr was at the bottom there.
Yeah, Randall Carr.
Good Lord.
So McCarthy,
was Jordy Nelson?
Yeah, we call that Mr.
Yeah, man. So, Law, what's your thoughts on that, man?
When he said we had 6 guys that could be a number 1 wide receiver, that spoke volumes, because
Why run the ball when you can throw it in the air and get 10 to 15 yards and use the running game as an ancillary piece to still attack underneath? So keep in mind, I saw a vertical play. It was a vertical play in the preseason game by Jake Ferguson. Did you see the 3-by-1 set? They had my guy Cavante Turpin in the middle of the field who could take the top off the defense, and you still had my guy Jake Ferguson on the edge with the running back in the backfield. So they can either run out of that formation, they can throw out of that formation, but what makes that formation different from what Kellen Moore does with it is that those would have been all hook routes. You got pre-planned routes, whereas you got a lot of drags, you got a lot of underneath, you got to make the defense play honest, and I think that that's what Mike McCarthy will do in his West Coast system. If those three guys were covered over the top, then naturally in the West Coast scheme, it would have been a quick dump off to the running back. So I do like that formation. You don't need to have the running back for this particular scheme. You just got to have your dogs at wide receivers or your receiving tight ends to be able to make them pay. And I'm quite sure that that's what Jermichael Finley was saying when they had 6 wide receivers that can get busy.
I love it. And see, it's another thing I got out of that interview.
Yeah.
See, it showed me the adaptability of Mike McCarthy. Because I remember that Super Bowl. They ran a lot of 10 personnel in that Super Bowl where they was going out there with 4 wides. That's telling me Mike McCarthy is going to focus on matchups super aggressively. Did you have something on that, Big?
Oh no, I just like hearing we had 6 number ones.
Yeah,
that's what I like hearing. We had 6 number ones, so basically everybody can eat in this offense. You know, like we talked about the Jalen Tolbert, 4th receiver, he's still going to be able to get some snaps. We talked about our tight ends, right? They're going to eat. Fergie, Hendershot. We'll see with Stevens. That's where that cut room for the tight ends is going to be crazy. So we need to see about that before we even say anything, because that tight end room somebody gonna get cut.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And it ain't gonna be Stevens.
No, it ain't gonna be Stevens. It ain't gonna be Stevens. No. Go ahead, OC. What was your thoughts on that whole back and forth?
The whole thing was this is what he mentioned. He likes the ball to come out, and that is consistent with West Coast principles. West Coast principles is really built on short to intermediate routes, and so that's what I think you're going to see a lot of in terms of timing. And I do think that Dak Prescott is plenty smart enough, and that the timing will be fantastic. And I think that as you have all these young guys that we've talked about, and the addition of other guys and things like that competing for positions, I think that you're going to see a variety of different packages, or you're going to see different players in the packages they run be interchangeable pieces. So you may have one guy at X in this set, and then maybe the next time you do it, you sub for another guy and you let him run that same X position. So that allows you to do matchup football. And I think how the Cowboys culture is now, what really drafting football players and athletes, I think is going to bode extremely well for the Cowboys in this coming season in terms of matchup football.
Real quick, let me just take a quick housekeeping break. First of all, people that might be coming in, y'all looking for Hailey, she was already here. So she's going to be at the beginning of the video, and she killed it. Like, it was a wonderful one. We had, obviously, Cal last week, but tomorrow it's going to be even better because we going to continue this with Nick Harris. So basically, the whole squad, that's the voices of the Dallas Cowboys, will be with the final word within a week's time. So this is a very dope time for all of us, new media mixed with people that's doing this on a traditional platform. But we all coming together to just give everybody great content. And I'm just loving this whole period. Yeah, so real quick, OC, one thing real quick. I never really talked to you about you know what? Let me do this. I'm gonna do something real quick. Let me take these super chats. If y'all got some super chats, go ahead and go to your channels and we go pull them real quick. So Smoke said, can we talk about the first TD we gave up on Izzy, or the safety just wondering, yeah, I could talk
Both.
about that. I could talk about that. I know exactly what happened on that. What happened on that smoke was Izzy's eyes was bad, and from the beginning, from the line of scrimmage, because Kurt gave him a move, and he went for the
Killed him
move.
on that move, boss.
Yeah, he did. He did. Now, if his eyes was better, and if he would have kept his eyes at his hips, they taught me this when I was in high school. The body cannot go where the hips don't point. I'm going to say that again. The body cannot go where the hips will not point. So it don't matter if a guy is doing a bunch of shimmy and shaking. When his hips commit to the left, he's going left. If his hips commit to the right, he's going right. So what you're supposed to do as a secondary player is it don't matter how much he doing a bunch of shimmying and shaking, you're supposed to keep your eyes glued on his hips. Because then once his hips commit, then you commit. So first his eyes was bad, and I'm telling you this from a technical standpoint of what happened. Then once Kurt released inside, Izzy looked back 3 times. Whenever you look back, that's going to create more and more separation. The third thing Izzy did that was bad, because it was man coverage, is he didn't undercut the receiver because he was in the red zone. I'm going to show this on the film, but since you asked the question, I'm going to answer. He should have undercut him to make the quarterback try to throw it over his head. So it was a lot of technical things that was off. The good thing is Izzy greatly rebound. So I want to answer your question on that super chat. And then the second super chat, he said, salute, brothers. Boss Cowboy Big. Game James, keep doing y'all thing. Yes, Hailey Sutton is up. Coming superstar for sure. Again, salute, brothers from Richmond. Thank you. And then Cole said, y'all killing the game. Glad to see it. Appreciate it, Cole. This is my last super chat. He said, Boss Big, the content with no BS. Keep up the great work. How about them Cowboys? And obviously, these super chats came in before Law and OC was in here. Did you have something, Big?
I had a couple, but they had already just basically shown appreciation. You know what I'm saying? My dog, Mr. Dwayne Brown, he always comes in with the $10 holler. Appreciate him. But I did want to expound upon that when you were talking about Izzy. Do you think it was Croyle as well? Because he was the safety on the back end of it. And when I watched him, he drifted forward. He stared down what's the quarterback's name? What's his name? Lawrence. He stared at Lawrence's eyes the whole time. And instead he started coming up instead of staying back. Because once he came up, that's when the receiver Kirk got behind him, and you never let the receiver get behind you, and he was able to throw that touchdown. I feel like if he would have stayed back, because that man was covered underneath with that cornerback, he should have been able to jump that route and make that interception as well.
Yeah. I can't speak on that, to be honest, because I don't know the coverage. I do know it was man coverage, but I don't know the safety responsibility in that particular coverage. So I would more so blame Izzy, because that was definitely his man. You know what I'm saying?
He got shook off. He got shook off.
Yeah, he got shook off the line. So I'll blame him. Law, did you have something, bro?
Oh, no. And on one of those holding calls, that's subjective at the top of the route. I don't know if it was Izzy. I forgot the DB name. But, that's how I want them to do. When they playing that man, I want them to get physical. But those calls are subjective and dependent on the crew that called. I don't know if you remember that when they went to man, when they was inside their own 20. And I think that Dan Quinn did a phenomenal job of making those boys play man. On their redirect and everything. But outside of that, it's first preseason game, a lot of jitters, and we will see. I'm like the OC now. We will see whether or not these boys can continue to be consistent for the next 2 games. On top of that, heading into this Seahawks game, this would be a good test for our wide receivers, because Seahawks got some DBs.
Yeah, this gonna be a good test, man. Yeah. So, getting into our final word. First, I would just say, I'll kick it off. First, with the final word, man, obviously, thank you, Hailey, for coming through. She fit us into a very busy schedule. I mean, she was doing a detailed documentary as we speak, and obviously, she's still in California at the practices while doing documentaries. So, I want to say this to the Dallas.com. Thank you. Because Dallas.com has been showing us a lot of love. Big Game James was able to get Cal, but then Cal was like, I'm gonna get my boy Nick on this show. And Hailey hit me up and was like, oh yeah, boss, oh yeah, absolutely. Like, everybody is just so cool, man. And it's all about .com really doing a better job of really engaging the fans. So my final word is, man, it's just a beautiful year. This feels Super Bowl-ish to me, because it was a time, in my opinion, on my final word, to where they was over there, we was over here. Do y'all remember them days? I know you do, Big. I know you do.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like that at all now. Like, it's such a respect for what they do, but it's also respect for what we do. And that just motivating, and it makes me want to work harder. So my final word is, man, thank y'all.com, and thank y'all for everybody that done came through during this period. So anyway, that's my final word.
Yeah, so my final word would be just this, man, that, hey, excited for the Cowboys in the upcoming year, man. Hailey, shout out to you. Salute to all the great things you do. Thank you so much for giving us some of your time. Sorry I wasn't able to make it in time to get a chance to chat with you, but I definitely will catch up with you later. But the Cowboys got an opportunity to do something special. We need to develop depth. We need to protect our ones. We need to continue to push the competition on both sides of the football, and we could really come up with something extremely special. So I'm excited to see what happens these last few preseason games, rolling into the regular season, and we should be cooking with some hot grease, as the old folks used to say. That's my final word.
Oh, yeah, man, just excited to see this next preseason game. I love the way the twos played against their ones, and just excited to see our young players that really build upon what they did last game, the Overshowns, the Tolberts, the Deuce Vaughns, the Isaiah Lands, the guys, John Stevens, those guys that got us excited against those Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm excited to see what they're going to do in these next preseason games. So we got a lot of talent on this team, and the good thing I love about this team is the depth. Whenever you're having a good football team to a great football team, to me, it's not just the starters, it's the backups. Because when you have guys that if you get hurt can step right in and your team does not miss a beat, that's when you know you're good. And I feel like we're at that level. We're becoming at that level, and we're near that level right now as far as our depth and our talent behind us. So that just gets me excited. And like OC said, we're definitely cooking like hot fish grease, and I can't wait till we see week one against these Giants, because I'm really excited to see what that first team offense is going to look like. I'm ready. That's my final word.
Yeah, and real quick before you go, Law, we got Dante Fowler Sr. in the building. So what's up? Good to see. He said, I like you guys better because y'all keep it 100. Salute to you guys. Yeah, man, appreciate that, Coach Fowler. Appreciate that. That's one of the best compliments, especially coming from you.
And your son's a dog.
Oh yeah,
son's a dog.
Man, he
hey,
son's a dog.
Pull that picture up one more time. Let me see. Is that a seal sucker suit, man? What you got on? Okay, all right. Yes, indeed. He cool, Fowler over there.
You know what he look
cool.
like?
Silk the Shocker.
No,
the Shocker.
Coach Fowler look like a
Silk the Shocker.
He looked like a flossier version of Coach Marv, man. He looked like a Coach.
Yes,
Coach Marv that hit the
that's
lottery.
what I was about to say. That remind me of Coach Marv, dog.
Yes, indeed.
That's what Coach Marv would look like if he hit the lotto.
Big lotto. Big lotto.
And low key, real man wear pink too. You know what I mean? Yes,
yeah.
you got to be
Look
a
at the
bold
looks.
real man. Yeah, look at the look with the hat and everything. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I bet you he did his hat like this when he put it on. You know? Yeah. That's old school right there. That means Fowler Jr. is gonna be good all the way because Fowler Sr. But I would say this, y'all. The DallasCowboys.com, man, they doing a remarkable job, and we love what they're doing because we get so much access from them.
Yeah.
And they have been an ally and not an enemy with us. They allowed us so much space that you guys got to know that it's a great union, a great partnership with them. And Hailey, like I said, I apologize for not being able to be here early, but things got weird. And I got a chance to meet her out there in Oxnard. And I'm telling you, she put and bring forth the great work out there, and she's putting in a lot of work. Like you said, they're working on documentaries. They out there interviewing players. They picking up the game, and they're seeing things and being our eyeballs and ears out there. And that goes a long way, not a short way. So continue to do that. All of those people out there that's doing that. I really appreciate all of y'all that's on the panel for your love and adulations and your prayers through these difficult times. And even when I wasn't posting for a complete week, I look back at the chart line and we done gained over 1,500 subscribers and got me over 110 subscribers. So I appreciate y'all. So, hey, man, I thank y'all for help elevating the nation. And when we say new media, it's not to be versus old media. It's just saying that we are a new way of things, right? You know, we spit differently at the audience and at the players and at the coaching staff. And excuse me, let's not leave out Jerry Wayne Jones because we ain't holding nothing back. Ain't that right? Coach Marv with the $5 super chat. Let's go. He said, shaking my head. We killing the running game already for 50 passes a game. I doubt it. I don't think we would do that, though. Do y'all agree?
Nah. And if we throw the ball, it's go because we swinging it out to them running backs where we go use the pass. We go use. So like the numbers might be skewed with McCarthy, and I think that's what Finley was talking about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And you know what else I see with this too is even with Kellen Moore, it was nothing wrong with his plays. It's just when he called the plays.
Right.
He didn't know when to utilize and use those plays. So I'm quite sure that when I'm looking at Brian Schottenheimer, this dude is yelling, spitting at the players. He's sitting down with the quarterback saying, this is not what I said. And then we have also a combination of Mike McCarthy spitting at the players. So now I'm seeing a coaching staff doing what? Coaching. They wasn't comfortable with doggone Kellen Moore. They had their arms folded and they was letting Kellen Moore steer the ship. But now I'm actually out there and I'm seeing coaching happening. So those are my final words. I appreciate y'all, man. Love y'all to the moon and back. Let's go.
3, 2, 1, drop it.
And remember, you're listening to nothing but the best.
Those grills, drop it hard.
Let's go.
It's time to do.
All right, that was the final word. Yes, indeed. Let's go, baby. Y'all already know.
Yup.
Are you not entertained?
I just wanna run it up. Count a check or something.
Y'all come back tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
Go be up the first time with Nick.
I've been really in the field.
Go be dope. Let's go.
I just wanna run it up. Don't need no deals, I make the deal. Half a ticket to a meal. Lately, I just wanna run it up. Kinda check us on. Lately, I just wanna run it up. Count that too, count it up, count it up. Lately, I just wanna run it up. Need them ones, I need them fives. Need them tens, I need that change. To the safe, got blues inside. Greens and pinks, it's all the same. I still save and roll my change. Take some losses when I play, charge it to the game. I'm with L, yeah, I'm with T Black, I'm with Revan now. I'm with Bay, yeah, I'm with Jay, yeah, I'm with Chuck and now. Still the same, not switching sides, now it's about loyalty. You switch sides off for the bag, and that's worth more to me. I mix Nike with designer, I experiment. You just rock what's on the shelf, and I'm not feeling it. Search for the one, but baby girl, it's nothing real as this. Can't trust a soul, I keep a hammer, call it too legit. I've been really in the field, love the rush, I love the feel. Lately, I just wanna run it up.
Man.